last time I performed, afterwards people said, "Was that true?" And I'm like, of course it's true. Absolutely, these are vignettes from my childhood. These are real. These people are real, their actions are real, and they really said what I have said they said. So with that beginning, let me start. Many of mine are focusing on various characters or different characters in my immediate family. This one is called Mother. My family moved to Indiana in 1963 when I was going into the 3rd grade. It was my mother's job to sign us up for school. After registering Alice for preschool, Mom and I rushed over to Elm Heights School to register me for 3rd grade. Unlike other mothers, my mother was dressed in red high heels, her blonde hair was in a French roll, and her skirt and blouse were colorful. She immediately drew attention to herself. She astonished the children ahead of her in line by knowing some of their names, eavesdropping, and talked with large gestures to the principal, teachers, parents, and children without reservation or distance. She laughed lots and acted like she knew everything, loved everyone, and was dedicated to having fun. As I hung next to my mom, she would explain she was from California and say, "Oh, I was raised in a tar paper shack in a small Northern California town. My father was quite old and lost his money in the Depression, so he spent his last dollar buying a 30-acre almond orchard." Mom said her father never farmed before, but figured he could learn by talking to farmers, reading the Farmer's Almanac, and using lots of elbow grease. He made plenty of mistakes at first, starting with buying a rundown orchard, but my dad made a living, she said. The money wasn't enough to get me store-bought dresses, but everyone was poor then, so it didn't matter. My dad always said to me, "Kid, you work hard and use your brain and you'll be fine." Mom told us her father had side jobs, including setting tombstones until he was 72. Even though he was a short, slight man, he was strong enough to place those tombstones. Even with side jobs, it wasn't enough to move into town until my mother started teaching grade school. One of my favorite stories captures my mom's teenage summers canning peaches. In jeans and a long-sleeved man shirt, she would show up to work and join the factory line. Predictably, she always had lots to say. Well, one day, the other peach canners, who were mostly adults, challenged her not to talk for an hour. She was determined to last the full hour and zipped her mouth shut, but she lasted only 10 minutes. Everyone hooted and even she had to laugh. After I was the last one to sign up for 3rd grade, Mom placed her hand on a parent's shoulder and said, "Now, didn't I hear you own the jewelry store downtown? I bet you know everything about watches since you've been in business so long. Would you mind if I brought my old father's pocket watch for you to look at? It's not something you see every day because he got it in 1880s in San Francisco, and it shows the date on the face of the clock. I'm sorry to say that the second hand stops unless you shake it really hard, and I hate to do that because it's so old. I don't think he spent much money on it, but I'd love to have it working, and I'm sure you'd know what to do." Before the jeweler could answer, she glanced at her watch and said, "Oh, you'll have to excuse me. I've got to run to the grocery store to get some milk before it closes, but I'll be by the jewelry store soon." Urging me to hurry, we'd run to the car.